Everybody, I'll call the meeting of the Sierra Vista City Council for December 9th, 2021 to order. Before we get started, I'll let everybody know that at the end of the meeting, we normally have our call to the public. If you're interested in speaking to us for 5 minutes at the call to the public, there are some papers on the wall over here that you need to put your information on and pass it to Maria. Maria, raise your hand. Our clerk, so that you can address the council at the appropriate time. With that, I'll ask the clerk to give us a roll call. Mrs. Adams.
Mayor Rick Mueller.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Rachel Gray.
Present.
Councilmember William Benning.
Present.
Councilmember Gregory Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Angelica Landry.
Present.
Councilmember Mark Rodriguez.
Present.
Councilmember Carolyn Humphrey.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I don't believe we have Mr. Al Garza here, who was supposed to give the invocation, so I guess I get that duty. But I'd ask you to rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Ms. Humphrey. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the great year that we've had in Sierra Vista. Despite its many challenges, our community has rallied to overcome them. And we couldn't have done that without your blessing and guidance. We look forward to the holiday season where people will be safe, joyous, and we'll be celebrating in your holy name. Amen. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you, Ms. Humphrey. Okay. Item number 1 is the acceptance of the agenda. Mrs. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda for a regular city council meeting of December 9th, 2021 be approved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions? Okay. Then I'll ask for the all those in favor of approval? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We next go to awards and presentations. Tonight we have an award the city is presenting to the United Way of Sierra Vista of Cochise County. And I'd ask all those people that are representing the United Way of Cochise County in Sierra Vista, Arizona to join me up front. Everybody needs to come up and face the audience. They can see you at home on TV.
How you doing?
Okay, we're all settled. Occasionally we have a chance. Are we on? You're on? Okay. Occasionally we have a chance to partner with some great folks in the community, and we did that recently during the COVID with our good friends from the United Way, Sierra Vista, Cochise County. And I have a letter that I'm going to read, and then we'll present the Mayor's Award, which is the highest award the city gives to any one of our organizations within the city, which doesn't happen often, but when something is done in an excellent, superb manner, you get the recognition that you deserve. Okay? This is a letter to the chairman of the board, United Way, Sierra Vista, Cochise County, Chairwoman McCall. The purpose of this letter is to formally thank you and the members of your organization for the critical role they played during the COVID-19 crisis in Sierra Vista. Our local United Way partnered with the city of Sierra Vista to distribute Community Development Block Grant CARES Act funds in excess of $70,000 to citizens in need. The United Way personnel work closely with city staff, local charities, and persons in need, ensuring federal funds were spent as intended and were available promptly for persons in need during this critical time. Key leaders in your organization proved to be critical players by ensuring the needs of the community members were met in a timely manner. Thank you for your efforts in overseeing the distribution of over $75,000 of critically needed aid to the most needy in our community at this critical time. We look forward to continuing and improving our relationship with the United Way as both our organizations are focused on taking care of our community. And it's signed by the mayor. And there's the letter. And there's the mayor's award that says presented to the United Way of Sierra Vista, Cochise County for excellence in service to the community and a deep sense of civic and personal responsibility for the betterment of the city of Sierra Vista, Arizona. Awarded this the 9th day of September, 2021, signed by the mayor. So congratulations.
Yes, sir. We would like the song.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. On behalf of United Way, we would like to thank you for entrusting us, and especially for Mr. Reed, who came on behalf of us to attend all the meetings, and Mr. Jean for just being a great advisor for us. And thank you again, and we appreciate this great award. Thank you.
Before you go, I want to say you did a great job in helping the city spend money. The city was the second community in the nation that figured out a way to get this money legally to the people that needed it, and we couldn't have done it without you guys. But again, you're just an example of what's happened. We said $75,000 of federal money, over $75,000 of federal money, but I can tell you that the other charities in town, like the Red Cross, or excuse me, the Salvation Army, has given out more than twice that amount of money in rental assistance and other things during the same time period. I'm sure Catholic Community Services did another like amount for that as well. And this is Christmas time, it's time of giving. So if you have a little extra cash and you're looking for a good cause, you're looking for a tax deduction in most cases, the United Way and all the charities in Sierra Vista is a good way to make your money work to take care of those that are less fortunate. So I would ask you to do that. And again, thank you. All right. We'll next go on to the city manager's report, Mr. Katuchik.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Mueller. Members of the council, your next scheduled meeting is scheduled for the 16th of December, 2:30 p.m., and that will be a special meeting to go over legal and personnel issues, and that will be held in the conference room. A reminder that your work session of the 21st of December and your regular meeting on the 23rd of December have been canceled due to the holiday season. And that another reminder is that on the 24th and 31st of December, city offices will be closed in observance of Christmas and New Year's. So those 2 weeks, your refuse service will be Monday and Wednesday for the Monday folks, and then Tuesday and Thursday for the Tuesday folks. Moving on to projects and other news of note. David just gave me the report on September sales taxes that were reported in October, and we were up 122,000 or 6.5% over last year. Which is a little down from the numbers we had before, but still very robust. So we are 9.3% ahead of last year's tax receipts and 13.9% over budget. So still very good. And of course, heading into the holiday season, we actually should look to see those numbers improve. So both very good news there. Projects, the design engineering services for the Animal Control Center Improvement and Expansion Project are out, and qualifications are due on December 20th, so we'll start moving on that here pretty soon. the Municipal Airport Redevelopment Project, which is moving the dirt out there. Tony reported to me today that about a third of the dirt has been moved, and that dirt is being relocated out Fort Huachuca, so that will help us very much in terms of improving that property for potential use in the future. Getting a lot of good comments around town about the Fry Boulevard Improvements project, and that is now starting to take shape and is on track to be finished in February, so good news there as well. And of course, the EMS substation is going on as planned as well. Finally, on behalf of our wonderful staff, I want to wish our residents happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. It has once again been a privilege to serve you, and we look forward to a productive and prosperous 2022. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Bertucci. Before I turn it over to the council, I want to make one comment. I've been concerned lately about the lack of light down on the project there on Friday. I noticed the poles were going up today. I don't know when they're going to flip the switch to turn them on, but hopefully it'll be before we go to a moonless night here.
It's happening.
In the next month. It's happening, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Bertucci on his report? None. All right, then, we'll move on to item number 2, Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the consent agenda consisting of the regular city council meeting minutes of November 18th, 2021, Resolution 2021-084, reappointments of Brad Snyder and Daniel Coxworth, and appointment of Leslie Thomas to the Planning and Zoning Commission, said terms to expire December 31st, 2023. Resolution 2021-085, acceptance of public improvements for the Holiday at PDS Phase 5A subdivision plat. Resolution 2021-087, electrical utility easement modification for the Veterans Memorial Park Sports Complex and Sports Division building. And Resolution 2021-088, reappointment of Debbie Perkinson to the Employee Benefit Trust, said terms to expire December 31st, 2024, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions on the items?
Just
I'll
like,
let the public know that we talked about these in detail at the work session.
and I'll just say Mr. Snyder's in the audience.
Mr. Snyder's in the audience.
Thank you he's our chair.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, I do want to add that I'm thankful to see Mr. Snyder, Mr. Coxworth, and for them to continue serving on PNC because they've been great, and I think Leslie Thomas is a wonderful addition as well, and I just want to thank all of the commissioners being willing to serve again.
Great. Hey, seeing nothing else, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now move on to new business. Item number 3, Mr. Johnson.
It is my pleasure, Mr. Mayor. I move the resolution 2021-089, creation of Economic Development Commission, be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Boone, may we have the staff report, please?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Mayor and Council, just as a quick reminder, there is no defined process to add an additional commission, whether it be regulatory or non-regulatory. So in that case, in preparing the resolution and the supporting documents, I used the language of the City Administrative Directive, Boards and Commission Practice and Procedure Guidelines as approved by this body by Resolution 2020-035 on June 11, 2020, and published as amended on June 25th of 2020. The resolution before you simply does two things. If approved, this directs the creation of the Economic Development Commission, and it approves the mission statement as drafted and included in your resolution. In this case, you're leveraging past decisions of the council, going back to 2020-035. Utilizing a non-regulatory commission includes a couple elements and things that were discussed in the work session. So for instance, there were questions and comments, but in this case, the resolution and the admin directive covers roles, responsibilities, membership, selection and terms, meetings and agendas, public record laws, admin, and budget are all included within that. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll take your questions.
Yeah, I'm going to suspend for a minute because I made a mistake here. We have Councilmember Rodriguez on the phone. And when we have discussion and vote, I remind myself to make sure I hear him. And Mark, I know I didn't hear you, so I'd like to know what your vote for the record was on item number 2.
Mr. Mayor, my vote was aye.
Thank you. So item number 2 is unanimous for the record, so we all know that. And excuse my error and my interruption. Do we have any questions for Mr. Boone on item number 3? This has been pretty well discussed. Yes, sir.
We have discussed this at great length, and I just want to, for the record, to thank Tony for your efforts putting this commission together. And, you know, I hope and pray that it works to supplement your efforts on behalf of the city and their Economic Development Commission and your work on behalf of the city to continue to grow our town. And thank you for your efforts. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I
Yes, sir.
disagree with Mr. Johnson, so thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Mr. Rodriguez, did you say aye? Okay, got an aye. All right. Try to do this right. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
I just want to make one comment for those people that may be interested in serving on commissions, whether they're the Economic Development Commission or otherwise. The way to do that is to contact the city clerk. We have a number of openings on a number of commissions, so I would encourage you to get a hold of the city clerk, find out what those commissions are, figure out what your interests are, and apply. And it's a relatively simple process, as you saw earlier. We just renominated 3 people nominated 3 people for the confirmed 3 people for the Planning and Zoning Commission. So it's rewarding work, having been a city commissioner myself. Okay, then we're down to item number 4. Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that Resolution 2021-090, acceptance of the grant offer from the Arizona State Parks Non-Motorized Grant Program for funding to construct a stabilized ADA loop trail at Garden Canyon Linear Park off St. Andrews Drive be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Flassar, may we have the staff report?
Absolutely, and I'm going to stand up here so I can show you a map at the end of my presentation
Okay.
as requested by Councilman Rodriguez.
Who's not here to see the map?
Yeah, I will also give it to Maria so it can be included in the minutes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of
As soon as I
council.
get back.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I really appreciate that, and I promise I'll look at it as soon as I get back.
I'm going to use the chair. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. Mr. Mayor, members of council, this agenda item will accept a grant from the Arizona State Parks Non-Motorized Grant Program to install a loop trail and other improvements at the Garden Canyon Linear Park off of St. Andrews Drive. The project is phase 2 of recent upgrades at the park, with phase 1 being the installation of a trailhead parking lot approximately a year ago. That project used the same funding source through Arizona State Parks. The planned improvements at Garden Canyon Linear Park were developed as part of a master planning effort a number of years ago, with the park eventually slated to include ramadas, picnic tables, a natural playground, educational areas, and a handicapped accessible loop trail. The grant award is $150,000 with an in-kind city match of $18,780.94. And I'm not sure that is highly effective.
Well, there are 2 good-looking people on there.
Flip the camera.
This.
Other side.
I've actually never done this either,
Okay.
so.
You gotta just pull it down.
There we go. That's much better.
Yeah, an improvement.
I like the other. I like the other one better.
I like the map.
I will note I am a civil engineer, not an electrical engineer or computer engineer. So at the work session on Tuesday, a question was asked about the relationship of Garden Canyon Park with Roadrunner Park and the property recently acquired from the school district. So number one on here is Garden Canyon Linear Park. See, that is 148 acres in total. Looks smaller on here because the limits actually go from Fort Huachuca all the way to State Route 92. So it is quite large, and basically that encompasses the Wash area. Immediately next to that, area number 2, is the future Roadrunner Park. That is just shy of 14 acres. That property was dedicated to the city by Castle and Cook as part of the Canyon de Flores subdivision when that developed. And then area number 3, I have to move this up a little bit, is the former school site, now city-owned parcel. It is just over 15 acres. So all those 3 combined will eventually be included in the master planning for that area. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mrs. Flassar?
I have a comment.
Comment?
I just wanted to say I'm really happy to see this. I was at a meeting today for lunch of someone that lives in Canyon de Flores that are not people that are in the earlier portions of their lives and families, and they were really happy that this was coming in and that they'll have an opportunity to utilize this trail. So thank you.
And I just want to make a comment is, I think since I was around when this Roadrunner Park was originally kicked off, we were not able to acquire the property at zero cost from Castle and Cook as we would like to have done. So that pretty much took most of the park development fee for that area to buy that parcel number 2. And fortunately, over the years, we've been able to save enough money to make a good deal with the schools once they realized that they didn't need the capacity for a junior high school site at that location. We were able to make a good deal in the last year to purchase that 3rd piece of property. So it's a gradual thing, and it's been very frustrating, and we understand it's been frustrating for the neighbors down there because when they were built, and right now they're pretty much built out down there, they were promised a park, and they didn't really have anything but a trail. So now we can start to give them what they should have had if we'd had the money available at the time to build a proper park. So that's a good thing, a good advancement for the city. So thank you, Sharon, for all your good work, and thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mr. Assistant City Manager, for your management of the funds and doing the negotiation, Victoria, with the school board to get the property, because all those are intricate, detailed actions that had to be taken to make this possible. So thank you. Now, did we call for the question yet? Okay, Mark, you ready?
I just had a real quick comment about that. I really appreciate the map for one. And I'll look at the map in detail as soon as I get back. Number 2, I really appreciate the commitment to, those with any physical ability able to use those paths down there. And like the mayor said, those residents that have lived in the neighborhood for a long time paid in at one time, for something to be built there. So it's finally going to come to fruition. That money just didn't go anywhere. It exchanged hands a few times, but now it's coming back to where they'll actually have something that they can use for their money that they paid into it early on. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Any other comments or questions? None. Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll next move on to item number 5, and I believe Ms. Flassar again.
Mr. Mayor.
You want me to?
I'm sorry, Ms. Humphrey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
way
you,
ahead
Mr.
of myself.
Mayor.
I
That's all right.
must have someplace to go tonight.
I move that resolution 2021-091, Public Transportation Transit Agency Safety Plan be approved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Flassar, may we have the staff report, please?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this agenda item will provide council approval of the Vista Transit Public Transit Agency Safety Plan. The safety plan is a relatively new requirement for those agencies who receive federal transit funds. The first transit safety plan was approved by council 1 year ago, and since it was a new requirement for all agencies at the time, the initial plan was developed jointly with other Arizona rural transit providers by the Arizona Department of Transportation. Although the initial ADOT plan provided a good framework from which to build, as a shared plan, it was more general in nature and lacked details specific to each organization. For this year's annual update, Vista Transit partnered with the Sierra Vista Metropolitan Planning Organization for the necessary funding to complete a plan specific to Vista Transit. The plan was developed by consulting firm Michael Baker, and a more in-depth presentation on both the safety plan and the short-range transit plan was given at the work session on Tuesday. Since the safety plan is a relatively new federal requirement, it is not expected that transit systems would be fully compliant at this point. The safety plan merely provides guidance moving forward and helps to track progress towards meeting established goals. Some of the areas for improvement include updating the emergency evacuation plan and other policies and procedures, such as the Vista Transit Employee Handbook and the Hazardous Materials Program. As noted, this will be an annual effort from here on forward and is required for Vista Transit to maintain its funding through the Federal Transit Administration. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Falsar. Any questions for Ms. Falsar? I want to take a minute to thank Mrs. Lamberton for being here today from the MPO, and we appreciate the brief from the Schneider folks as well last Tuesday, so we appreciate all that. If there's nothing else on this item, I'll call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got you. Okay, we now move to call to the public. We have one gentleman that would like to address us tonight. And Mark, I'm having trouble reading your last name here.
Don't worry, everyone does. Attendance was real fun in high school.
Well, you got 10 minutes, and the lights will come on when you start talking. 5 minutes, excuse me, 5 minutes. The lights will come on when you start talking. Lights are broken. Okay, well, she'll kick you when we get done.
Reminds me of grad school.
Yeah, the thing about the call to the public, it's you talk to us. We really can't comment or make things other than ask specific questions after you get done speaking, okay? And you're going to speak to us tonight on the housing crisis.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So, first off, my name's Mark, and I'm here to talk to you today about the crisis that we're facing and that's specifically affecting the underrepresented the most. Anyone who has looked for an apartment lately knows there's not much out there. There's not much available. And what is available has been priced to a point that most people really can't afford it. And what's more is this has given certain people the ability to suppress and harm those who normally wouldn't have a voice. For instance, a woman that lives across from me is a single mother of 2 children, works 2 jobs, and is currently without heating, and her property manager has ignored it. Her water line's broke. She had to pay for a plumber out of her own pocket. I myself don't have a heater that's working in a gas leak, and it's being ignored. I know individuals who have become homeless because their studio apartments have gone up just to about $600, $700. And the thing is, though, I also want to present to you some rather concerning statistics as well. You see, one of the reasons that many people haven't talked about it or reported these things is because their fear of getting evicted. And if we look at how this eviction and homelessness affects individuals, specifically looking at Arizona in 2022, pre-pandemic, it was found that an estimated, and I lost my flow. Okay, 10,900 people in Arizona were homeless. Another study wanted to see what are rates of suicide amongst the homeless. And they found 1/3 attempt suicide. That's about 3,600 people in Arizona alone, with families, desires, who felt that death was actually better than the situation they have been put in. Now, I also know that to claim that landlords are causing part of this and they're doing this is quite the accusation. So I also want to focus on some studies that were actually done that show, once the numbers are crunched, that this is actually something that's occurring. For instance, one study looked at when we compare richer areas with poorer areas and look at the rent in comparison to the property values Are the poor communities charged more? Unfortunately, they found yes. A study by Harvard then decided to look at this more. Well, what about with property or housing vouchers? Section 8, are they charged more? And they found that yes, people with Section 8 for the exact same apartment are charged more. This cost, Harvard estimated the city of Milwaukee alone, $3.8 million. So this just isn't affecting people like myself. This is affecting everyone. As city council members, I'm sure you could think of many things that $3.8 million could be used for. As well, we have to also accept that this is a very complicated issue. We're playing with a balancing scale. As we affect one end of it, we affect the other. A common suggestion I have heard is, well, why don't we just cap rents? Why don't we just force it? Well, this was actually done in San Francisco in 1994, and a group of researchers wanted to see, okay, did it work? The answer is not very well. They found that those who still had housing had more availability. However, landlords were just redeveloping around it. They're finding a way to get around it, and so there's a sudden drop in housing. And so this shows that it is kind of a balancing act, and it's a difficult situation. But I feel there are things that we might be able to do. These are just suggestions, of course. For one, there can always be the suggestion that we give incentives instead of trying to control their decisions. We give them, similar to getting a teenager to clean their room, but with an allowance. We give them that incentive. As well, another study found that was looking at why isn't any of this reported? There's places you can go to, there's government programs, why aren't they talked about? Well, one of the reasons that they found is, I've already discussed it with you, fear of eviction. The second, though, is a form of learned helplessness. And that is that, what's the point? I've been trying for so long to get ahead, never worked. Why bother? Especially if I'm just gonna put myself at risk. And the third and most concerning fact that these researchers found was that there are actual people who don't know there is any better, who this is all they've known, being abused, being taken advantage of. They don't actually know that they can have better. And I find that very concerning and says an awful lot about the situation we're facing, not just from a sociological perspective, but also an ethical perspective. And so another idea that we could maybe do is take a leaf out of the institutional review boards and ethical committees and make an actual independent watchdog that can actually keep watch of these places, go to the impoverished areas, actually look at the housing conditions, because it's a lot easier to say something, to put yourself out there when someone approaches you first. As well, there are many people who are currently in poverty that do have skills who could be used for this. And so we could even take a leaf out of the New Deal and give people a chance again, and also give them the ability to feel like they're actually fighting for their own. They're standing up for themselves. And as well, we can give those without any skills further skills, because if you guys know anything like this, requires plenty of clerical work. And that is a skill in the 21st century that is very much needed. And so we can give them purpose once more as well. Again, though, these are just suggestions to get the discussion going, to look at ways we can solve this, because I don't really believe that time is on our side. And so that's where I'll end it for any questions you might have for me. And I thank you again for letting me come up here and speak to you.
Thank you. Comments or questions, Mark? Okay, I have a couple of quick comments, just so you know. You mentioned yourself as well as the neighbors having some issues. There is as you mentioned in your statement, there is a state method of doing that, and our connection is with Mr. McLaughlin here on the corner in the Community Development Department. He can connect you with the state agencies that deal with those issues, because there's no reason you should be living in a place where there's a gas leak. No reason whatsoever.
No.
And I want to just take a minute to thank you, and I'll make some comments later. Well, actually, I'll make them now if you'll tolerate it. This is an issue we looked at a number of years ago, and believe me when I tell you the situation was significantly worse And we've done a lot of work with cleaning up, I'll say unsightly to be kind, trailer parks. But we had some people with absolutely miserable living conditions. And those have been cleaned up, and we've had a campaign to do that. We've got people to develop and redevelop areas. But the challenge is we don't have a good feel today like we did 12 years ago on where the low-income housing is and what the needs are. One of the things we did 12 years ago is we had a study that came in and said, here are the categories and here's what's needed for this community. And I've already talked, based on our conversation the other day, or your email the other day, I talked to the city manager and asked him to see what we can do to get another study so that we can address, we know how big the problem is, so we can address the housing problem specifically in the next couple of years. Because it's going to take a couple of years. This is not, I can't give you a house tomorrow.
Obviously, yes.
Obviously. But the thing is, if we have the need out there, we need to identify what it is and work toward that goal. And I would assume that as the trailer parks have now been cleaned up and there's a lot of vacancies, eventually people with mobile homes will move in. However, you got to be wealthy enough to own a mobile home to be able to do that, right?
Yes.
So there's some challenges there that we need to work through. And our first step really, I think, is to go ahead and get a true housing survey, needs survey, as well as address some of the ones and two problems that you like, onesies and twosies problems that you mentioned with the state agencies to help the folks that are in a position they shouldn't be in right now. So I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
And that'll be a future discussion item in case the council hasn't figured that out yet. Appreciate it, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay. We now move from call to the public to call to the council. And Mark, I'm going to start with you so I don't forget you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Hope you can hear me. I just wanted to thank Laura and her staff, everybody that was for the Christmas parade, and along with the chamber. It was a great event. Despite, a lot of negative comments we got online preceding that, it was a very great event. Everybody I talked to, myself in person, was thankful the way it was set up, and they enjoyed it. Kids enjoyed it, so it was a successful event. Obviously, like she mentioned, we'll do some tweaking for next year, but it was a great event. I just wanted to thank the entire staff that had any hand in that. Also wanted to mention the Firefighter Toy Drive that's been going on. They had their second one yesterday. If y'all could just put that information out, because it'll be probably clearer on your end if you put out the next for Wednesday and the bag and tag and delivery. If y'all could just put that out, please. I'd appreciate that.
Mark, what was that again? I missed that first part.
If y'all could put out the information for the Firefighter Toy Drive, the remaining Wednesday, the bag and tag and delivery.
Okay, well, I'll have the deputy chief do it in a minute, okay?
Perfect, thank you. I really appreciate that. I had a chance to go by the Station 4 project, and I talked to Mr. Moses Robles, the project superintendent, and he just wanted to, he mentioned how good it was to work with our city, because he's worked with other cities that weren't as easy to deal with as we are. So he's very thankful for the quick responses that the city has provided, and the quick solutions that they've had, or anything that they've come across. So I just wanted to pass that on to the staff that they're doing a great job with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Ms. Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank Mark. I don't know if you ever said his last name, but thank you for Okay. Thank you for coming to speak to us, and I wanted to thank everyone on city staff for even though it was another challenging year, I think you all did a really great job, and we're really lucky to have you all on board. And the people of Sierra Vista for persevering through another difficult year. And next week, I wanted to share that there's an event to benefit the Friends of Sierra Vista Animal Shelter to help pay for low-cost spay and neuter clinic. It's called Sips and Snips, which I think the name kind of says it all. It's going to be at Hoppin' Grapes on Friday, December 17th, and tickets are on Eventbrite. And other than that, I think I'm going to see a lot of you next week. But if I don't see you, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and that's it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A lot of things are going on this time of year. Just wanted to let you all know that next Saturday, this 18th, there is going to be a Huachuca Art Gallery open house from 11 to 4 p.m., and that is at 1835 Paseo San Luis. It's a really cool little place if you haven't visited it. They're going to have some art and jewelry and different gift ideas, and they'll also have some raffles, and that's always a lot of fun. So definitely check that out. Support some of our local artists. And also, for the Sierra Vista Animal Shelter, they're suspending turn-ins right now. They're at capacity. So if you're looking for a new best friend, or if you know anybody that's looking for a new best friend, definitely go out there and meet them. Dogs love you more than they love themselves, so I'm sure that you will find the perfect one for you. And you can. There's also options to foster, so if you want to give it a try, ask them there. And just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays. And especially this time of year, just, look around your neighborhood, your friends, your family. Remember, anybody that might be missing their family, might be away from their family, anybody that is experiencing a holiday maybe different from before, some of the different elders in the community. Maybe you want to take somebody like some snacks or some food, or go visit them, check on them, make sure they're doing okay, and share the holiday spirit with them as well. So thank you all for a great year, and hope you all have a really great new year as well.
Again, I'll mention that the Art Association, they have great things, and they're at all price points. So it's worthwhile to go look either for yourself or for a gift. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a safe and Happy New Year. My second point is it's not too late to donate toys to the Sierra Vista Fire and Medical Annual Toy Drive. We're looking forward to doing that in the next couple of days. And finally, as I complete my first year as city councilman, I want to thank the city staff for their hard work and due diligence this year to continue to move our city forward during these tough times. It's my honor to serve on this body. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think the rest of us feel the same way about the staff and the way they performed in at least the last couple of years. In my case, many years. Mr. Benning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Gotta figure out where I want to start. First, I want to
Explain that pink shirt.
put out some things. What's that?
You should explain the pink sweater.
Real men wear pink,
It
Mr.
was a
Mayor.
gift. It was a gift. I know.
No, I bought it. Real men wear pink, Mr. Mayor. They used to be never mind. We'll go there later. All right.
I got a story about that.
Some neat things going on. I'll put out first, and then I'll talk about my favorite part of the city staff and go from there. So we have the Adult Therapeutic Group. If y'all don't know that we have one, we're on one of two in the state of Arizona. This Saturday doing a performance from 2 to 3. 2 to 4, excuse me, at the Oscar Urine Center. They meet there all the time. They dance. They have a ball. They were there at our Parks and Rec Commission. So if you get a chance to go check it out. Go check it out. There's some great people in our community, and I highly recommend it. The other thing I want to first say to Ms. Wilson and the Leisure and Library Services staff, they did an amazing job at the park for a 2-day event. We also have a crafts event coming up this Saturday at the park. And if you notice, we're doing more things at our parks. We're trying to highlight our parks more and bring more people in. And one of the biggest pushes was to get more sports tourism and more things happening. As most of you know, we have the El Tour de Arizona coming, or DeZona, excuse me. So give you some impact on how it's going so far. We have over 438 applicants already for the races. There's 3 races. You can go online and check those out. The shortest one is like 26 miles. Go have fun with that. But we have 38% of those 438 people are from out of the state of Arizona. It'd be easy to tell you what states they're not coming from than tell you from the states they are coming from. What I found interesting is different parts of Canada, we have like 5% coming from Canada and out of country, so that's pretty neat. Come to our beautiful town of Sierra Vista. Some of the things that will be happening, it's from March 25th to March 27th. Some of the things you'll see, we'll have RVs in Veterans Memorial Park. They're authorized to park there and camp there. We'll have a little tent city where people can come and stay in Veterans Park. And at night, they'll be putting on festivals. So if you're not racing or if you're not in the ride, you can go to the festivals at night and enjoy the same camaraderie, same party for the event. But it's just something great that the staff brought together, and I know Ms. Wilson is working hard and her staff's working hard for it. So I wanted to give that information out to the rest of my council, to the mayor, and to the thousands that are viewing online of what's going on. Then I'd like to thank Mr. Reed. Anthony Reed is our executive director for the United Way. As this whole process went, I had to recuse myself from voting because I'm the vice president of the board. But Ms. Ramona McCall and Anthony Reed and the rest of the board members, they're the spearheads of all this, and I just want to say what an honor it is to work for such a great group, and I'm glad we were able to partner with the city. I want to thank Mark for coming out and talking to us. I agree on a lot of the things you said, and I know in our strategic plan we have some of that stuff in there, and I look forward, Mr. Mayor, to having that at a work session to be able to discuss it further and what we may do. And then finally, 2 years ago today, I lost the greatest man I've ever known on Christmas Day. So I just want to put out to everybody who's listening, you know, it's never too late to say I love you. It's never too late to call and say I miss you. Don't miss those opportunities. Tell somebody how you feel. If you have a friend you haven't seen in forever, or a loved one you don't talk to for whatever reason, things come and go, people don't. So I just encourage you to pick up the phone or go to lunch and let someone know and let them know how you feel. But on that, I want to say Merry Christmas to the staff, to the council, to you, Mr. Mayor, and then most importantly to the people of Sierra Vista. I thank you also. I agree with Mr. Johnson. It's an honor to sit up here. It's an honor to serve you. It's an honor to talk to you. So Merry Christmas and have a blessed and happy New Year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Benning. Mayor Pro Tem Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo everyone's sentiments about the weekend with the parade and say thank you to our leisure and library and recreational staff and for the market in the park. And also thank you to the chamber. And you guys did an excellent job. And I would just also like to say kudos to the chamber because throughout a rough year for everyone, they've done really well and been very creative in making sure people still understand businesses. And as I've attended the meetings, I've heard their membership numbers keep going up. So I'd say great job on that. And also thank you to the Kiwanis for the assistance with the tree in the park. I understand that's 22 feet. That's a very large tree. And I also read an article today in the paper about the Little Library Bookstore donating $5,000 to help with some costs in the library. So I want to say thank you to them. Libraries hold a very special place in my heart. When I was in junior high, the library was right across the street. And so my mom wouldn't have to come get me because from school, she would just come get me at the library because every day I would go and I would just roam around, check out books, and she would have to come get me because I usually had about 10 books I was taking home at a time, which could not carry as a child. So thank you to them. Also, tomorrow night at 5 o'clock in the mall, there's an organization called the Canine Companion that helps with service dogs for people with PTSD and children with autism, and they're going to be doing a pet parade and a pet talent show. So 5 o'clock in the mall in the food court. Of course, I will be there because, you know, it's dogs. And then also along with Angelica or Dr. Landry with, if you do get a friend, please make sure you're willing to commit long term. The worst thing we can do is to get a dog or a cat and then decide we don't want it and take it back. It's very traumatic for them and it does not help the shelter. So please make sure you do that. Merry Christmas to everyone, to the staff, to council. It's been a challenging but productive year and I've enjoyed it and hope to continue enjoying it. That's all.
Thank you. I do have a couple of things I'd like to address tonight. First, I've already talked about the housing study. We realize that is an issue for our community, and we will be talking about that and seeing what we can do to rectify that. I did briefly talk about the charities in town and what a great job they're doing taking care of our folks in the crisis that we're going under now, as well as during normal times. But again, I would encourage you, if you do have the economic ability to make a donation, there are a lot of great local charities. Some of those are tax deductible, so that helps on your taxes. And this is the time to look around and help. Even if you're not writing a check or giving money, you can volunteer. I know I'll be ringing bells on Saturday morning, as a number of other folks do. And I would encourage you to look for ways you can support your church and the charities of your choice. Again, I want to thank the city staff for a great year of work. As we go into the holiday weekends, please be safe. If you're traveling, don't spend too much time on the road. Take your proper breaks. Make sure your homes are secure and that kind of thing. And did you want to talk about your drive, Chief?
Sure thing. Yeah, so as you mentioned, we have every Wednesday until, well, actually yesterday was the middle one. We have one more. So next Wednesday at 4 p.m. until 6 p.m. down there in the Schlotsky's Ace Hardware parking lot is where we have the toy drive. If people want to come and donate toys and also money, that's accepted there at the parking lot. And that is all for the toy drive that we do annually. We've been doing for long before I was here, and it's just a wonderful event, a wonderful way to give back to the community and those in need. The actual event will be on December 18th from 1 to 4 p.m., bag and tag we call it, and that's essentially where we gather the toys into bags for the individual families and children who are in need. And the community is welcome to come to that. It's at Fire Station 1 on Fry Boulevard, and everybody can kind of form a line, and you bag up the toys for the children. We then separate them and get them prepared for delivery, which will be December 19th, starting at 8 a.m. And again, members of the community are welcome to come help out to deliver the toys to those families throughout the region. And that begins at 8 a.m., same place at Fire Station 1 on Fred Boulevard.
And if I'm not able to make the date to drop it off at the Ace parking lot, I can probably knock on the door of a fire station and just give it as long as it's before the 18th, right?
Bet, any fire station.
Okay.
Absolutely. We've had wonderful donations. The community is always very giving, and so far we have a lot to be able to give out this year.
Okay, so that I don't get in trouble with the cops, Chief, do you want to talk about Shop with a Cop?
Yes, this Sunday we will have our Christmas with the Cop, sponsored by the Service Police Officers Association, starting at 7:30 at Walmart. We have over 100 needy children that are signed up to shop, and they get $100 worth of merchandise that helped out by law enforcement to get that selected for them, and then I believe Walmart then will pick up the taxes.
Okay, I want to take a minute to thank the city for all that they do and have done over the past year for the community. Our city staff has done a great job. As you can see, it's not just being on the beat or answering the fire calls or building buildings and streets. They're out there in the community, and they're of the community, making the community better, and making sure that we do indeed have a great community. Anything else, sir?
Just a question for Chief. What day again?
It's this Sunday.
Okay.
At 7:30.
And then one more alibi, Mr. Mayor. 18th of December, Veterans Park, Service to Glow Ride will be there from 12 to 10 o'clock at night while the cars go off and light up and drive around the community. We'll also have events going on at the park. So it's a good time if you want to come out. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Mayor.
thank you very much. I do have one more item, and I'll just make it quick. After due consideration and a lot of thought, I will announce today that I will not be seeking a fourth term as mayor. With nothing else before the council, meeting is adjourned.